I think, as I look back, there are a lot of home runs that I remember. Hitting a home run in an all-star game, that was a big thrill. Hitting one in my home park in 1965 off Jim Maloney, that was a big thrill for me. And playing in the World Series and hitting a home run off Drysdale, that was also one that I'll never forget. And the last home run I hit it off a little left-hander by the name of Eddie Bain. And somebody said, well, Eddie Bain, why'd you hit it off a guy like that? And I said, I didn't know it was going to be my last home run. Or I'd try to hit it off of one of these guys up here. But home runs are, sometimes they just happen. And if they happen at the right time, like Ozzie said, it's a big thrill. But just putting on a uniform, walking on the field in Major Leagues was a big thrill to me.
Well, thank you.
I want to say one thing. I don't think Bob told you the whole story about, you were in street clothes, weren't you, Bob, when you threw that 107 miles an hour? That was 104, huh? 104. Oh, that was only the 104.
Hey, Rollie, you gave 4 home runs up to Harmon?
In 1 year.
Harmon, how many did you ever hit off of me?
What's that?
How many home runs did you hit off of Phil?
Off of this guy?
Niekro,
Phil.
me.
No, I didn't hit any off of him.
Thank you very much.
Nuxie, of course, was in the National League most of the time, most of his career. But I remember hitting against him in spring training, and my golly, I hit a lot against a lot of good knuckleball pitchers, but I'm glad I didn't have to face him on a regular basis.
Well, speaking of Rollie, we do have tonight 2 of the greatest relievers in Major League history, Goose and Rollie, and you both spent plenty of years excelling out of the bullpen. And I wanted to ask you both, is there a special mindset that you have to have, particularly when you're the closer on a team coming in? How do you approach games differently than maybe a starter would?
Well, first of all, you have to, I'll just jump in there, Rollie.
Go ahead. You're older than I am.
You have to, everybody says, hey, Goose, how were you such a great relief pitcher? I said, I had a short memory. Because, we're either the hero or the goats. And, a short memory is a beautiful thing. And, it was just one of those things that evolved. Rollie was having some great years out there with in the early 70s with the Oakland A's. Relief pitching, when I was put in the bullpen in 1972, those great years, at the beginning of those great years with the Oakland A's with Rollie, I was with the White Sox. Chuck Tanner put me in the bullpen. It was kind of a junk pile down there where really you didn't want to be in that bullpen because it was a junk pile where old starters went that couldn't start anymore, or couldn't finish a game. So really I was firsthand, I saw the total, part of the total evolution of the bullpen from when it was a junk pile to what it has turned into today. And Rollie, I can tell you, was, man, I think Rollie's the greatest relief pitcher ever, in my opinion. Yeah.
The mindset of a relief pitcher is just exactly what Goose said. You have to have a short memory and not think about what happened today and carry it in tomorrow. And
a good shortstop.
Oh yeah, definitely. You wouldn't be famous if I didn't give up all those line drives to you, man. But I kind of fell into the job as a relief pitcher. I was a starting pitcher, and I couldn't get out of the second inning. And I'd wait 4 days to get knocked out in the second inning again. And Dick Williams ran me off to the bullpen, and I kind of fell into the job one day in New York playing the Yankees. And it was a ball game where we were losing by a lot, and all of a sudden we were winning by 2 runs in the 8th inning, and I'm the only guy left. And he had to use me. And it was me or the pitching coach. That's what I've told people. And he chose me, and I pitched 2 shutout innings, got a save that night, and next day pitched 3 innings, got another save. And that's how I became a relief pitcher, because I was on my way out of baseball, and because I couldn't get anybody else out. But that was Dick Williams who changed my career around. And the rest is history. I didn't like the idea as a starting pitcher going to the ballpark without an opportunity to get in a ball game that night. And that was my mindset. I hated sitting around and waiting to pitch. And as a guy in the bullpen, you had that chance to get in every ball game. It all depended on when the phone rang. And that was a lot less pressure for me. And I enjoyed doing it.
Well, Rollie, in the bottom part of the first inning tomorrow, you're going to be facing off against Gary. And I was wondering if you could share with our audience perhaps how you're gonna approach facing Gary Carter tomorrow on the field.
Gary?
Yeah.
I'll hit him. Better wear a helmet, man.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if I faced Gary. Did I ever face you?
Yeah, you faced me.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, I got a couple hits off
Oh,
you.
okay. I'm just going to let him hit it and I'll probably keep the ball inside so he doesn't hit up the middle so I don't get hit. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, for our hitters up here, Gary, Harmon, and Ozzie, what was it like facing Goose and Rollie late in the game, going into a late inning game? What was it like facing those two guys?
Well, I guess I can start that off. I faced Goose when this guy he was really great. I thought that he was one of the toughest guys that I ever faced in the American League, and then of course he moved to some other ball clubs. But when he was with the White Sox, he and that other guy, the left-hander,
Terry Forster,
and Goose, I think they combined to be the toughest relief pitchers in the American League at the time they were pitching with the White Sox. Rollie, that's a whole different story, and I don't know why, because Rollie, as Goose said, I happen to think he was one of the greatest relief pitchers, certainly in my time. And why I got some hits off of him, I can't tell you, because he wasn't easy to hit. And I
Wore
know
me out.
What's that, Rollie?
You wore me. I was so glad when you retired.
Well, the story goes, and Rollie can tell whether it's true or not, but one of his teammates said that as we were playing a series with the in Minnesota against the Oakland A's, and they landed at the Minneapolis airport. So they looked out the window and they said, "There's a limo for you out there, Rollie. I think Killebrew sent you a limo." Is that a true story, Rollie?
That's a true story. It was so bad in Minnesota that in 1970, I think it was in '74, Alvin Dark, our manager, we went into Minnesota. We played a doubleheader with the Twins, and Alvin Dark told me to sit in the seats without my uniform on. That's how bad it was against the Twins. That's a true story. I had to sit in the bleachers.